Good evening. Hope everybody's doing well. Oh, man, one heck of a news day. It really was. There was, believe it or not, quite a bit of news come out, especially on the conflict front. A lot of news on that. However, I wanted to take a little bit and have a talk. I watched a video today. I thought it was a pretty well done video. I thought he was really accurate on what he said. The Prepared Homestead did a video earlier on whether or not it's too late to be prepared or to get prepared to prep. And I have seen other channels as of recent touch this topic, some directly addressing it, others just touching it here and there. And I thought, you know what? Even though a lot of my thoughts, a lot of my feelings on it echo the Prepared Homestead sentiments, I figured I would answer the question here. So, this question can get as simple or as complex as you want. Is it too late to start prepping? I'm going to always tell you no. Always. No matter what that means. Whether or not that means going and getting a couple of pounds worth of beans and a bag of rice and that's all you can get. I'm going to tell you to do it. So, again, that's an awful simple answer, and one that I don't think really does the question justice. On a more realistic level, I think one needs to ask themselves, what kind of level of prepping am I talking about? That's a different story. If you were to ask me if you've got time to build a huge underground bunker and this and that and the other thing and then have a full homestead up and running, and I would say doubtful. You better have a lot of money and a lot of crews with nothing else to do. But for general prepping, again, I'm always going to tell you no, that it's not too late. It is most certainly feasible that one could build up in a rather short amount of time, even just a few months worth of supplies, food and whatnot. And I know the people that have been prepping for a while, when I say 3 months, you're probably thinking, not enough, man, not enough. Hey, look. Whatever is needed to get past the bump is enough. We can't foresee how long of a hard time another individual is going to endure. We have no idea on that. So, in my opinion, it's the wrong move to tell them, no, you don't have enough time. Because what kind of time do they need to get by on? Just a month? A couple of months? A couple of years? That's a huge question. And in most every case, that's a question that we can't currently answer. We don't know. And for each of us as individuals, we might have a personal SHTF that doesn't affect the rest of the world, but maybe we can't afford to buy groceries for 3 months. SHTF doesn't have to be a global disaster. Sometimes it can be a personal one. So you always, absolutely always have time to prep. It just depends on what level, what kind of money you have to work with, what you're looking to do, what are your needs, it all, all those things pile up, and you have to dictate for yourself, or discern, I'm sorry, not dictate, but discern for yourself whether or not you have, again, the money, the ability, you name it. And that answer is going to be very specific on an individual basis. But you always have time to prep. Always. Again, you don't know. I mean, whatever event you go through may be very short-lived. May not. My advice for somebody that's either fresh getting into prepping or have been doing it for a year or so, because a lot of people that's been doing it for a year, they may not have quite 6 months of food put back. I would say that's a good target. If you're already prepping, or if you're somebody with means, 6 months worth of food would be a good start. But if you were just fresh, brand new into this, I'd tell you, if you can get 6 days worth of food, it's a good start. So just do what you can and keep adding. Keep building it up. Because it builds up pretty quick. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. We did this prepper closet, and there's videos on the channel of, I show the prepper closet and stuff, and I show what we had in there at the time. And we filled it up pretty good. But there was still some room left. Not anymore. I don't really know where to go with anymore. I mean, please understand, we've got a small home. We don't have a ton of room to store stuff, so that's a huge factor. But as far as that closet's concerned, yeah, you ain't getting much more in there. And, it's clearly not all food. It's all prepper stuff, but it's not all food. And so I'm even going to have to try to figure out some rearranging I can do and whatnot, so I can empty some shelves off, so I've got a little bit more room for food. Not a problem. I know a couple of them I can empty off rather easily. But anyway, you just keep at it. That's all you can do, is just keep plugging away at it, and try to meet whatever goal it is that you set. So just starting out, honestly, 3 months is a fair goal to set. If you're just brand new, fresh into this, but do what you can. Try to build up that 3 months of food. Make sure it's foods that you'll eat. Make sure preferably foods that you're kind of used to, and make sure you've got enough. Make sure. I would always tell people, make sure you put back more than enough. So if you're aiming for 3 months worth of food for 3 people, in my opinion, you should probably actually have about 3.5 months worth of food and call it good at 3 months. And the reason why, there's a whole lot of things that people don't take in consideration in prepping. And when they do their, figuring for how much food is it going to take me to survive. And one of those things is that the lifestyle is going to be so much different. It's going to be so much more physical. It's going to be so much more mentally, physically, spiritually demanding. And all of that drains a lot out of you. And you are going to have to eat more. You're going to have to intake more calories in order to have the energy, the focus, the everything you need, the strength, to be able to do what you need from day to day. So that's why I'm saying, make sure you have enough put back. Make sure you figure in enough for your daily allowance. Because I think there's a lot of folks that don't do that. And the way we do it, I'll tell you how we do it. I put back more than what it would actually take to feed us for a day and call it good. Now, you have to understand, Jen and I don't eat regularly. Well, normally, I should say. We don't have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We mainly eat one big meal a day, and that's it. And I might grab a little of something at another point in the day, and she might grab something. Usually she'll grab a little something, a sandwich, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or something like that. That's it. So we don't eat a whole lot now. And I can't speak for her, but part of the reason why I don't eat a whole lot is because this is what I'm getting prepared for. My body's not going to go through major changes. I'm not going to have big issues because my food intake drops down or anything like that, because I've already got my body conditioned to it. It's not by accident. There's going to be a whole lot of reflecting when things kick off. A whole lot of people saying, I wished I would have. Well, I'm trying to cross those T's and dot those I's to the best of my ability. But if you're new to this, don't be discouraged. Put one foot in front of the other and keep moving forward. It's that simple. Anyway, I want to get started and go over the insanity that we call international relations. Oh, man. Oops. Oh, that was right. Okay. Let me go ahead and take you over to the web view here. So this situation that's going on with Russia and the whole gambit, Ukraine, Russia, the whole deal, because as well as I do, it involves us too. This is playing out. This is really playing out to look like a proxy war in the making here. So as you see the headline say, Russia will hit back after U.S. bars families of diplomats, says Moscow. So to give you a little idea of what's going on with this, an American decision to refuse to grant new visas to the families of dozens of Russian envoys will be met with retaliation. One of Moscow's top diplomats is blasted, as ties between the two nations worsen over embassy cutbacks. In an interview with RIA Novosti on Monday, Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabakov said that the refusal to allow diplomatic spouses and children to remain is a step that has effectively forced Moscow's representatives out of the country. We will respond to this, he said, and we warn the Americans that in order to prevent further reduction in our staff, we can't not respond. Earlier in the day, the Russian ambassador to the U.S., Anatoly Antonov, announced that Washington had refused visa accreditation to the families of 27 Russian diplomats and that they would need to leave the country by January 30th. Moscow also said that an additional 28 would be leaving by June 30th, bringing the total to 55 diplomats heading home by mid-2022. This is something to pay attention to. You don't ignore when they start pushing diplomats out of countries. The row over the number of diplomats stationed across the two countries has raged on for a number of years. Last month, U.S. President Joe Biden said the American staff in Russia had shrunk to 120 from 1,200 in early 2017, and that it was difficult to continue with anything but a caretaker presence. Washington has also ordered the closure of its consulates across the world's largest country. Earlier this year, the U.S. Embassy in Moscow stopped processing non-diplomatic visas and designated Russian citizens as homeless nationals who can apply for visas in third-party countries. Moscow was indignant on the decision, saying American diplomats have for many years been destroying the system of consular services in Russia. They have turned to a technical procedure, a routine one for the 21st century, into a real hell. Officials have also questioned why the U.S. needs such large numbers of envoys as well as foreign staff just to process visas. Biden met with Russian President Vladimir Putin in June for the first summit in Biden's presidency. Afterwards, the countries discussed normalizing embassy services. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said that they made no progress due to American attempts to pressure Russia into agreeing to Washington's terms. So as you can see, there's this buildup that's been going on. And again, this is a serious thing. This is not anything minor. When you go from 2017 to now, from 1,200 diplomats down to 120, that's the U.S. In Russia. And, I have no idea. I don't think it gave the numbers for how many of the Russian diplomats are here. However, that's still 55 more will be heading home in 2022. So this is a big deal, and it's something to pay close attention to. So let's see. The reason why I say that this is a proxy war in the making is because of this whole situation with Ukraine. And it's almost like the U.S. is trying to instigate Ukraine and trying to tell Ukraine essentially, hey, look, if Russia invades or if they try to do something or whatever, we got your back. And that's almost what it seems like is going on. And it seems like the U.S. is kind of egging them on. So anyway, this article here is titled, Russia Still Planning to Invade Ukraine, says Kiev. And it just says, launching a full-blown invasion of Ukraine is still on the cards for Moscow, Kiev's foreign minister has said, after claims Russian troops could be preparing an offensive during the neighboring nation failed to materialize. Speaking in an interview with Baltic news outlet Delphi on Monday, Dmitry Kuleba said that in the worst-case scenario, the Kremlin could try to undermine the security architecture that has developed since the Cold War in Europe and redraw borders by force. He cited the brief war between Russia and Georgia in 2008, as well as the country's reabsorption of Crimea in 2014. Of course, Russia views invasion as one of its available alternatives, he said. However, at the same time, he admitted that there is no evidence that the decision on its implementation has already been made in Moscow, but the option is on the table. So again, I think there's a lot of stirring the pot that is happening here. However, regardless of whether it's merely stirring the pot or whether, it's just on their own kind of thing, it's definitely making waves. So here's Moscow here claiming, and I believe it's true, NATO shipping weaponry to Russian border, says Moscow, and it says alarming quantities of weapons are being shuttled by NATO towards the border with Russia, Moscow's top diplomat has warned, adding that Western states are engaging in provocations that could lead to an actual armed conflict. Speaking at a press conference on Tuesday, Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov revealed that significant units and armaments from NATO countries, including American and British, are being moved closer to our borders. He said that in neighboring Ukraine, more and more forces and equipment are being accumulated on the line of contact in the Donbass, supported by an increasing number of Western instructors. According to the veteran diplomat, these nations also encourage officials in Kiev to take anti-Russian actions, which he said can easily turn into military adventures. Lavrov warned that if the West cannot hold back Ukraine and actually encourages it, of course we will take all necessary steps to ensure our security. He also blasted the West's long-term pushing of other states into anti-Russian ventures, noting that the incorporation of former Soviet republics into the military bloc is the brightest example of this, a move which Russia has openly denounced. So anyway, kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of what Moscow is claiming and what they say they see, and honestly, I think they're probably accurate. I think that's what they're seeing. And then you have this. So apparently, the United States, or not United States, Belarus is thinking about inviting Russian nuclear weapons into their country. Right now, of course, this is a win-win situation here for them. It's a win for Belarus because it absolutely helps protect them. And at the same time, it's a win for Russia because that's one more place they've got their nukes. And so I found this very, very interesting. Let's see what it has to say here. Won't read it all, but we'll get the gist of it. A Belarus leader has said Russia should deploy atomic warheads inside his country's borders if NATO's nuclear weapons are advanced eastwards through Poland amid a growing row with the West. Speaking in an interview with RIA Novosti on Tuesday, Alexander Lukashenko threatened to increase the amount of deadly hardware facing off across the frontier if American-made nukes are moved further into Eastern Europe. In that case, Lukashenko said, I will suggest that Russian President Vladimir Putin return nuclear weapons to Belarus. According to him, the restoration of a Soviet-era nuclear deterrent over the territory using those atomic armaments would be most effective in such a case. I am not saying this for no reason, he went on. We are ready for this on the territory of Belarus. Lukashenko, however, did not specify which type of system he wanted to be used and claimed that this would be agreed by the two sides. The bombshell remarks from Belarus' longtime leader came after U.S.-led military bloc head Jens Stoltenberg expressed concern earlier this month that Germany's new government could decline to purchase a new fleet of aircraft capable of launching nuclear weapons once Chancellor Angela Merkel leaves her post. So, that's not a good move either. Absolutely not. And here on our side of the ocean, well, we're seeing how quickly we can get rid of military, even if it's the Guard. So we're going to move on. We're going to talk a little bit more about vaccines and mandates and all that stuff. I only got 2-3 articles on this, I believe. Pentagon spells out penalties for National Guard members who refuse vaccination. It says here, U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has revealed the penalties the National Guard members might face if they refuse vaccination against COVID-19, giving soldiers an ultimatum that could affect their pay. In a Tuesday memo, Austin restated his claim that vaccination is essential to the health and readiness of the force and ordered the reestablishment of policies and implementation guidance to address the failure to maintain this military medical readiness requirement by members of the non-federalized National Guard who remain unvaccinated. The penalties Austin outlined included a ban on participation in training and drills for unvaccinated state National Guard members and a withdrawal of federal funding for payment of duties to those who refuse the vaccine. Additionally, Austin stated that no credit or excused absence shall be afforded to members who do not participate drills, training, or other duty due to failure to be fully vaccinated against COVID-19. The Pentagon has been engaged in a standoff with the Oklahoma State National Guard since Governor Kevin Stitt requested in November that his state's guard be exempt from vaccine requirements. The request was rejected this week. The Oklahoma National Guard's 45th Infantry Brigade Commander, Brigadier General Thomas Mancino, told his soldiers earlier this month that no negative administrative or legal action would be taken if they refused vaccination. However, the Pentagon has reportedly warned that refusal could jeopardize the member's status in the National Guard, even if they serve under state control instead of federal. Which is absolutely ridiculous, but whatever. Hang on, let me have a sip of coffee here. You know how much control the federal government is supposed to have over the state militia, aka the National Guard? 0. None. That's kind of the whole point. So France, not to be outdone, sends military police to Caribbean island amid anti-vaccine mandate protests. Says here, France has sent police reinforcements to its overseas territory, Martinique, after riots broke out in response to a mandatory COVID-19 vaccine policy for healthcare workers. Some 70 armed French police officers, known in France as gendarmes, arrived in Martinique on Tuesday to tackle the violent protest marred by arson, looting, and vandalism. French Minister of Overseas Territories Sébastien Lecornu said in a press conference that social dialogue is not possible without a sound basis, and that sound basis is the reestablishment of freedoms and our capacity to reestablish order. Civil unrest broke out after France imposed a vaccine mandate for healthcare workers in Martinique, which has reported low vaccination rates amid high levels of mistrust in the government and faith in natural medicine. As a result of the riots, which included an attack on the residence of France's most senior official on the island, France revealed on Friday it would be postponing its vaccine mandate. Lecornu has blamed Martinique's vaccine hesitancy on the island's culture, saying, "I don't want to stigmatize, but the mistrust over vaccines is cultural." I don't think so. Protesters, however, have argued that they are unable to trust officials with their health after previous cases of misconduct. 95% of adults in Martinique have traces of pesticide with links to cancer in their blood after it was consistently sprayed on the island for several decades. Martinique was colonized by France in 1635 and has remained under French control despite independence efforts. So you got that craziness going on, and not to be outdone, UK military wants to help jab against COVID as Omicron spreads, right? Why not? The British Prime Minister has said that the UK is aiming to offer COVID-19 booster shots to the entire population before the end of January, noting that the armed forces will be aiding healthcare workers with the rollout. How do you like that? Helping them. Like, you either sit down in the chair and let them give you this, or I will. You see what I'm saying? That they're helping them, assisting them, right? The target that we have set ourselves is to offer a booster to everyone eligible by the end of January, Johnson said at a government press conference on Tuesday. As with the first jabs, we will be working through people by age group, he added. Johnson also said that British armed forces would be involved in the administration of vaccines. The government had previously vowed to bolster the booster campaign in light of the spread of the Omicron variant of the virus, which appears to have a significant number of mutations. Howdy, Tracy. Earlier on Tuesday, the Prime Minister said it was overwhelmingly likely that the booster shots would provide the required protection against Omicron variant. Let's see. Moderna Chief Executive Stéphane Bancel had claimed on Monday that Omicron could cause a material drop in vaccine effectiveness, sending shockwaves through the stock market. Now, I actually looked up because I wanted to be, accurate on that word, what they meant by material drop. And I do believe that the way that they mean that would be synonymous with like phenomenal. Phenomenal. Anyway, on Monday, the UK's Joint Committee on Vaccination and Immunization said that all adults would shortly be able to receive their booster shot. The booster campaign is currently only open to those aged above 40. Meanwhile, the country will soon start making second COVID vaccine doses available to children aged between 12 and 15. To date, the UK has only rolled out the mRNA vaccines as booster shots. The Novavax shot, which is awaiting approval, may also be used as a booster jab. Now, at the same time that all of this is going on, there's a study that aims to find the reason for rare blood clots in people vaccinated against COVID. I'm not going to read all this. I'm kind of tired of reading. The UK government vaccine task force has launched a study into the rare but potentially deadly causes of blood clotting and low platelet counts reported in some COVID-infected patients and people who received certain vaccines. In a statement announcing the study on Tuesday, the University of Liverpool cited reports from March about small numbers of people seeking medical care, predominantly after the AstraZeneca vaccine. These patients had blood clots in major veins, including those in the brain and abdomen, but also exhibited low levels of blood platelets, which are responsible for clotting. The £1.6 million project will see scientists from across the UK research the occurrence of the adverse condition, clinically known as thrombotic thrombocytopenia syndrome. I'm sure I pronounced that wrong. It is expected to look at how common TTS was in the general population before COVID-19 and compare this against the cases identified after the pandemic began. Don't you love their testing and analysis? Their widespread, wide-scale testing and analysis? I think it's amazing. It's crazy. I am telling you, it is nuts what's going on. Like I said, I don't see it turning around, making an about face or anything like that anytime soon. I think it's going to continue to get crappy. I really do think that this is the big push. You know, not only the big push, this is the times that the Bible refers to. This is it. This is it. We'll see. We'll see what happens as Omicron takes hold in the United States. But I think they're going to do everything they can to really push it harder than they have any of it so far. And then at the same time, like I talked about earlier, you know, war is the war situation. If I would describe it, I wouldn't use words as like possibility or likely. I think I would go with the word imminent. Now, I'm not saying anything major, massive, all scale, or anything like that, just in the blink of an eye. But I think we're going to see something small pop off. And I think it's going to grow pretty quickly from there. I don't think it's going to take a long time. I think it's going to grow quickly. But, you know, once you see one of those areas light up, Belarus or, you know, anything like that light up, Ukraine, you can bet that it's going to be pretty quick from that point. I believe the claims from Russia that U.S. and British military equipment in mass is moving towards the border, have no doubt. You know, we already know that we have positioned ships in the Black Sea. I have no doubt there's more ships on the way. I'll tell you, I think we're getting close. Think we're getting close. Merry Christmas, huh? Now, I think there's a fair chance that before anything too stupid happens, I think we'll get through the holidays. I think that we'll get through Christmas and New Year's. I think after that, there's not going to be much I could, give hope for. I think it's really going to go downhill quick. Kind of thought this last year, but I guess we just weren't quite positioned yet for that fall, and I'm pretty positive we are now. So, we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, let me have a couple of sips here. Maybe a couple of vapes. I'll read some headlines. I'll get the hell out of here. Oh, man. Fun bunch of guys over in the those diesel heater groups on Facebook. They seem to be pretty cool guys. So, oh, man. Might even have to warm me up a little bit of chili after the show. I'm sure Jen will appreciate that. Let's see. Oh, you guys might want to go along for the ride, maybe. Another sip of coffee because I had to push a button. That was a huge effort, you know. Alright. Gonna start out with one from last night. Musk pins production issues on supply chain nightmare. I'm pretty sure I didn't say that one last night. If I did, oh well, I said it again. Okay, here starts the ones I put out from this morning. Duarte-backed candidate must make sudden exit from presidential race. Defense attorney names real victim in Jussie Smollett case as trial begins. You know who the real victim is? We are. We're the real victim of that. UK to put booster jab program on steroids in wake of Omicron. Cops search Marilyn Manson's home amid sex crime allegations, says media. Russia will hit back after U.S. bars families of diplomats, says Moscow. Russia won't extend gas transit deal, says Ukraine. Newest COVID variant slips into Delta-freed Japan. A virtual mega yacht sold for $650,000. So let me make this abundantly clear. This is not a real yacht. This is an imaginary... I mean, it's digital, but it's digitally imaginary, right? You're not going to be able to go boating on your motorboat, right? Because it's not really there. $650,000 for an imaginary boat. I am in the wrong business. I am clearly in the wrong business. So, I think I should outdo this person here. If he can have the Metaflower NFT Super Mega Yacht, then I can create the Meta Arc, right? I'll build the Meta Arc. Anyway, continuing on. Omicron crypto skyrockets thanks to COVID. France slams UK for quasi-modern slavery. U.S. lying about expulsion of Russian diplomats, says ambassador. 1 in 3 parliament staffers sexually harassed. Brits send fur coats they're too guilty to wear to Afghanistan and Pakistan. crashed British F-35 failed to take off, leaked video shows. And yeah, I would concur with what was previously reported about this incident. Looked like one of the covers, the removed before flight covers, it looks like one of them got sucked up into the main. There's a fan right up here in front of the plane, a real huge, real powerful fan up there, and it looks like one of them got sucked into that fan, and it was taking off from a ship. So it got right up to the edge of the ship, and it looked like that got sucked into the fan, and it just went right down in the water. Bank fined for charging, well, here. Doo-doo-doo. There you go. Got right up to that edge, and it just sucked it right into there and exploded. The fan and all that exploded. Bank fined for charging the dead. Yeah, I see something wrong with that. West could make big profits with breaking up Russia, former top diplomat says. MI6 outlines White House focus on digital threats. Over 100 fashion brands tied to deforestation. New Omicron variant could spell end for COVID-19 pandemic, says top Russian scientist. I talked about that earlier on the video I made earlier. EU countries' electricity prices 5 times higher this year. Russia set to unveil new hypersonic weapons, says Putin. Now, the article kind of alludes to Zircon, the one that we are currently aware of. I don't think so. I think I got a sneaky suspicion we're about to find out some even more advanced stuff. Sneaky suspicion. Ukraine opens criminal case after Zielinski warning of imminent coup. Russia comments on U.S. religious freedom claims. ISIS fighter found guilty of genocide in first conviction of its kind. QAnon hero Michael Flynn called movement total nonsense in leaked audio. I have no doubt of that. Man, I keep saying, don't trust these politicians. And the reason why I say don't trust these politicians is because all they want is to use you for a fool and a tool. And that is even their attitude. That's not my. That's their attitude. That is all that they're interested in, using for you for a fool and a tool. And believe me, more of them, many more of them say stuff like this than what you ever want to know. Don't trust them. Sweden gets first ever transgender minister. U.S. abusing dollar, claims Russian oil boss. Study aims to find reason for rare blood clots in people vaccinated against COVID. New opioids spark deadly wave of overdoses in the U.S. Russia and China to team up against illegitimate U.S. sanctions. Putin planning to attend opening of Beijing Olympics as guest of Chinese leader Xi. Twitter's new boss slammed for post about white people. Omicron found in Europe earlier than previously thought. Russia not building fortress walls, but simply seeking to increase sovereignty, says Putin. Russia still planning to invade Ukraine, says Kiev. UK evaluates cost of another pingdemic, what they call a pingdemic. Mozart chocolate is the latest victim of COVID. Politician runs for president to save France from tragic fate. FTC orders Walmart, Amazon, and Kroger and more, to turn over information on empty shelves and high prices. So we'll see. There might be, there just might be some corporate games going on with these quote-unquote shortages. Some of it might be corporate games. Who knows? They might be doing things they might get in trouble for. Peta launches a human leather shop. It's satirical. Don't think it's real. But kind of funny. I wonder what they want for a three-piece suit. Let's see. Russia's OPCW envoy responds to allegations over Navalny case. Biden and Fauci have vocal problem with Omicron. And I probably say it wrong too, so whatever. And they're talking about, they say Omicron. Well, yeah, that would be an easy mistake. I don't think that's real newsworthy. Greece reveals age groups to be fined monthly if unvaccinated. NATO shipping weaponry to Russian border, says Moscow. Piers Morgan accuses Fauci of rampant egomania. Kind of the pot calling the kettle black, but still, yeah, you're right. Outcry forces EU to ditch plan for inclusive language. U.S. U-turns on rebels' terrorist status after 20 years. Hang on, let me have a sip of coffee. Let's see. German parliament to vote on mandatory COVID jabs in the coming weeks. UK wants military to help jab against COVID as Omicron spreads. Twitter announces more censorship for sake of public interest. Putin comments on Biden's bid to be president in 2024. Belarus may invite Russian nuclear weapons into the country. Wife of drug lord El Chapo hit with 3-year prison term. Chinese Foreign Ministry makes claim about controlling coronavirus ahead of Olympics. General who warned about accidental war with Russia gets replaced. Competition regulator demands Facebook ditch Giphy. Existing vaccines will hopefully protect against Omicron, WHO official tells RT. Inflation is not transitory, says Fed chair. Might be something you want to pay attention to. Epstein's Lolita Express pilot testifies in Maxwell trial as flight data leaks. Let's see. 3 students were killed in a Michigan school shooting. Most Americans say Biden not doing enough to curb gas prices, says a poll. One Omicron case triggers 2-week shutdown of children's emergency ward. CNN suspends host Chris Cuomo over defense of ex-governor brother. Biden's vaccine mandates suffer back-to-back blows. France sends military police to Caribbean island amid anti-vaccine mandate protests. Pentagon spells out penalties for National Guard members who refuse vaccination. And then we do have a number 1 up there. Musk comments on potential SpaceX bankruptcy. I'll share that out. Not that I care, but somebody might. Oh, fun times. So yeah, just keep an eye on things and don't stop preparing. And it's not too late to start. If you're fresh into the game, if you haven't prepared a single thing yet, not too late to start. Just do what you can. Do what you can. Assess your needs and do what you can. That's all any of us can do. There isn't a single one of us that can say with 100% certainty that we're completely prepared for anything that could come our way. Because that's a lie. That's an absolute lie. But if you just keep at it, you can knock out more and more things that you need to be concerned about. That's the goal. So anyway, I am going to get off here. And might warm me up some chili. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll see you again. And as always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.